Uh-oh, now it's serious. Hi, Brooksy. I know you're yelling at me. Hi, Brooksy. Wait, hold on. You got a monkey? I got a monkey. Hold on.
Oh boy.
No, no. This is
Oh
good.
boy. Oh, look at that. Two
There's
monkeys.
my monkey, Brooks.
He's like, no, I don't
Mine's
like that one. I
better.
like Curious George. Is
I
that
love their
Curious
Is
George
pet
page?
hair. This is, I don't know. It's we could just call it a sock monkey. I don't really
Yeah,
think
we
we're,
had one of those. I think
yeah.
it got. I think Sam threw it all over the place, but it's cool. All right. So if we can share screens and let's roll. I don't know who has leaderboards, but there we go.
He's on it.
Perfect. Welcome to the Felix Durgan Ellefson Agency Huddle Call. Today is the day before Veterans Day. So if you know any veterans tomorrow, please reach out to them and say thank you for their service. I think that would be very apropos. And just a little tidbit on that, Bridget, always gotta promote this. People are going to be home tomorrow. Hello. That means activity, dialing. You have chances to get a hold of people tomorrow. So there you go. All right. And this is for the first week of November, 11/1. Let's see here. For Felix, there was 12 applications for 19,076 in APV. Durgan Ellefson for that week is 15 applications for 18,300. Let's start with this here. Kristen with 4 apps for 1108 APV. Paige with 4 apps for 3182. Always consistent Paige. Love it. James Burge, look at this. And Lorenzo, oh my gosh, 1 app for 3439 and 3519. If you're going to write one, those are good ones to write. That's awesome. Brando with 6 applications for 5,059 APV. Rafa, I think writing business in Cancun, 4 apps for 7,060. That just goes to prove, Bridget, that you can do this business anywhere. And if you have the work ethic, if you have the calendar efficiency and all that, you can do this from anywhere. He probably wrote an app on the bus driver that took him from the airport to the hotel. I'm guessing, or hired him, one of the two. And then yours truly with 2 apps for 99.84, and it's awesome for the base shop. These numbers for the month of November: Felix with 4 riders, 16 applications for 24,437 APV, and the Durgan Ellefson, 3 unique riders, 10 applications for 14,274 APV. This is a fantastic month to write business. People are home. People are starting to think about family. There's lots of vacation time taken, so people are home this month, contrary to maybe what you believe. So, next slide. There you go.
All right, combos had. So guys, this is, just talking about the opportunity. Like Tom was joking, but not really. Just talking about people day to day, talking with people about the opportunity. Because if you do this enough, you talk about what you do, that you love it, that you're hiring, you will find people that are looking. And never assume that they're happy with what they're doing. Like I always say, you look at their social media and you're like, oh no, they're perfect. You never know. It's kind of, can be, oh, the layoffs, or I hate my boss, whatever it is. But just sharing the opportunity about what we do and that we're hiring, and then you can get them to an overview. It's very simple. You don't have to know everything about the business. You can literally be in pre-licensing and start building a team so that it's not all on you. You have the passive income. You can get to your promotions and help other people get to theirs. So this slide here will always be tied into the new writers coming up. So super important, guys. Just again, when I was new, I couldn't get my brain around it because I just needed to produce and make money, which I know a lot of us come here in that spot. But I wish I'd have started earlier. That's what you'll hear universally. So just start telling people, hey, this is what I'm doing, posting on your social media. If they say, hey, what does that leaderboard mean? Direct message them, DM them, don't put it right on your main page for obvious reasons, right? gets taken out of context, and you can have a more one-on-one conversation and get them to your upline. Next slide, Tommy.
And if you're here, you already know Zoom room is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. This is just where you come to learn. So most of our team calls are here. There are breakout rooms every single day, all day, where you can come in and listen to people dial, listen to people run appointments. You can come in here and do those things yourself. Trust us when we tell you this is the quickest way to learn. You learn by doing and you learn by hearing other people in action at the same time. We like to say here that you are in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And this is a good way to take advantage of that. So utilize the workroom. It's here for a reason.
Okay, that was the shortest leaderboards in history. So, Paige, I'm gonna stretch this out a little. I'm kidding. We got some good stuff to talk about because, you know, I'll just give you a little preview here. I've learned something about confidence. It's not loud, it's not flashy, and it's definitely not always there when you need it to be, right? Most days, confidence doesn't dress up like a superhero at all. It shows up quietly in the small, consistent moments, in the doing. Because sometimes you just don't wake up believing in yourself. You wake up and decide to move anyway. You pick your head up, you take a breath, and you take the next step. And somewhere in that movement, you realize confidence wasn't something you were missing. It was something you were building. So that's all really what I want to talk about today. How activity creates confidence, especially when belief feels out of touch or reach. So let's start here. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever had one of those mornings where you're staring at your phone, convincing yourself not to make the next call, the next dial. It's a safe place here. I mean, I'm trying to manage all this. I would put a 1 in there. I'll put my 1 in. Whoops, there we go. Perfect. Right? We've all had that. It happens. And you know you should. You've done it 100 times before, but that voice starts whispering, what if they say no again? What if it just isn't working? What if the system just doesn't work? Paige, Bridget, I've been there. And that day, I learned something that's changed everything for me. And I have to keep reminding myself of this almost daily in the morning. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes because of action. Let me repeat that. Let that sink in. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes because of action. Most people are sitting around waiting to feel ready, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for belief to show up like a lightning bolt. But I'll tell you the truth right here. You'll wait forever. Simon Sinek, and I love this quote. The goal, and I've gotta give Paige some credit on this too, because her quote is very similar to this that I've etched in my heart. This goal is not to be perfect by the end. The goal is to be better today. I think Paige sums it up best saying done is better than perfect. And that's it. You don't need belief to start. You just need the movement, because once you move, once you take action, once you start, then you'll start collecting evidence that you can. See, we've been taught to think belief precedes action. It's actually the other way around. One of my great podcasters that I love, and I dive into him dearly is Ed Milet. He says, you're not going to feel confident before you start. Confident comes from making the promises you make to yourself. That hits so hard. Because that's exactly what activity is, keeping your word to yourself. Every time you show up, Every time you make that call, make that dial, have the conversation with the clients, take the next step. You're building a track record that says, I keep my word. And that's where self-belief comes from. We lose self-belief when we attach our worth to our results instead of our effort. We start measuring ourselves by the scoreboard, the leaderboards, instead of the standard. You know, Simon Sinek calls this the infinite game. The only true competitor is yourself from yesterday. That means it's not about winning today. It's about staying in the game long enough to grow. Belief doesn't live in perfection. It lives in progress. So if you're doubting yourself right now, good. That means you're in the middle of growth. Give you a quick framework here, something I call the confidence cycle. Number one is action. You move even when you don't feel like it. Number two is evidence. You prove to yourself that you can handle it. Three is belief. Your brain says, hey, I've done this before. I can do it again. And four is momentum. And suddenly, that's when confidence takes over. That's how it all works. Action first, belief second. You know, you build self-confidence by doing the reps. Each time you show up, you're building the muscle of belief. You don't need motivation. You need motion. And just to reflect, this is me talking to myself right here. So, you know, these are all things that I needed to hear today. So, Bridget, what you got? I still got more, but go for it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to pause real quick here, Tom, because you talked about something that I think is universal to all of us, right? Which is once we kind of come across something we don't want to do, all of a sudden our brain kind of works kind of against us, and all the reasons, I do have to do this first. And it's almost always the things that we don't want to do, but motion creates emotion. In other words, you start doing that, you know how they always say if you're feeling, terrible, I'm not talking about lying to yourself, but sometimes when you don't feel great, just try smiling at the next few people you come in contact with, right? Then it just kind of pulls you out of that. But the motion of doing something can create the emotion of belief, of momentum. But let's boil it down to really simple terms, things that you can do today. Your why. Why are you here? What is it that you want out of Symmetry? Financial freedom, vacations, sharing opportunities, with friends, families that hate what they do. What's your why? Because that's what drags you through, honestly, through the trenches. Because personal note, when we first started, we were driving to people's houses, right? And we'd pull up to somebody's house, or I would sometimes, and I'd be in a completely unfamiliar area. It'd be getting dark. Maybe the front yard looked like a hoarder's paradise. I'm just saying. And I used to say, oh man, yikes, I really don't want to go in there. And, I'd have an hour drive home. But what I had to remind myself was, why was I doing this? Because I wanted better things that I knew that Symmetry could offer. And also, I'd say inside that house is somebody who cares about somebody to look into this, right? So it's literally right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, and just making yourself do those little things. I mean, think about any time you've pushed yourself on a personal note. Anybody here? Not having the bowl of ice cream before bed, going to the gym when you really don't feel like it. The reward on that is so much greater than it would have been had you just said, no, I'm going to go, and that's fine. It's almost always on the other side of it is a bigger bounce. It's from pushing yourself. But in order to push yourself, it just becomes, nobody really loves dialing. I mean, really, let's think about that. For me, dialing just became part of what I'm doing. That's it. You can't give it too much thought. It's not, this is what I'm doing. I'm dialing. So I just wanted to touch on that, Tom, that motion creates the emotion of it. And so many people have it flipped around. I'll do it when I feel ready. I'll do it when I know everything. I'll do it when I've talked to this, mentor. No, just do it. Just figure it out along the way. So great topic here. Over to you.
So funny. You made me laugh because I actually went to a home on Friday. And
I
it really
know.
truly was a hoarder's paradise. He had at least 8 cars that I could count that were, 40s and 50s style cars. And I can't even describe what the little walkway into the house smelled like, but they're really good people inside there. So, and it was cool. And, one of my longest standing clients, and um just it blew me away what this house was anyway. But what you're talking about here too, Bridget, with the emotion is, think about this too with the why. We talked about that on Tuesday on the dialing. What is your why? Right? We talked about that. And, you know, for those of you that missed the dialing and the presenting and the building breakouts last week, Bridget crushed it. So kudos to you, Bridget, for stepping up and doing all those. You knocked them out of the park, each and every one of them. But think about this. Here's the truth: with every person you admire, every leader, every top performer, every elite performer, they didn't start confident, but they did start courageous. This is the emotion part, right? The hardest part is starting. Once you start, it gets easier because it's not just inspiration, that's science. Your brain literally rewires itself when you start taking action. Movement creates momentum, and momentum builds belief, right? And, if we get real for a minute, there's going to be days, it's never perfect, where your belief feels empty and you really have to lean into that why. Sometimes you wake up and you don't recognize the person in the mirror. Days where your confidence account feels overdrawn, right? On those days, your job isn't your job to think your way out of it. It's your job to move your way out of it. Think about that. That's huge. When you start to think about it, you get lost in the woe is me, the Paige, what did you say? The what if voice, the little voice, that what if, that little, yeah. But when you move your way out of that, your activity creates confidence. And every action, no matter how small, is a deposit in your belief account. You may not feel rich in confidence right now, but you'll start making deposits and keep making deposits. Then you're building something that no one else can take away. Milet says it this way too. You don't get what you want, you get what you believe you deserve. Let that sink in. It's all about your mindset. It's all about your why. Thanks for that, Bridget. And, the way you start believing you deserve more is by proving to yourself through consistent action. Prove it to yourself through the consistent action. Don't wait to believe in yourself to start. Start, and you'll believe in yourself. A little challenge here, and then I'll open it up again. But this week, when belief feels low, don't retreat. Just move. One more call, one more conversation, one more action, one more recruiting follow-up, one more sharing the opportunity, one more, whatever that one more is, move into that, because activity always creates confidence. Always. At the end of the day, it's never been about being fearless. It's about being willing to take the next step, willing to show up when it's uncomfortable, willing to trust the action itself, because that's what builds belief. Confidence doesn't come from what you get out of life. It comes from who you become when you keep going and while you keep going. So when your belief runs low, keep your head down, keep your heart open, and just move. Because every small action you take is proof you are never lacking confidence. You are just in the process of creating it. Thoughts, Bridget, Paige, on that?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, Tom, too. That you think about anybody that's at the top of the leaderboards. There's absolutely no story that I've heard of in Symmetry where they came in and they're like, yeah, it went exactly like I thought. Yeah, it was super smooth. I mean, you get punched in the face, in the throat, metaphorically, kicked in. Now the other thing is just know that you're in it, but you can also, that's when you are in that pit of despair, that's when you reach out to your mentor. And so much human nature isn't like that, right? When we're not doing well and we're struggling, it's like most of us want to kind of just off into the shadows for just a bit. The sad part is you go there, sometimes you never come out. So it's getting with your mentor, being like, oh my gosh, I just got hung up on. I just got somebody that swore at me. And your mentor will be like, all right, sounds about right. Sounds about you're right where you need to be. And I can remember calling Dave, and most of you on this call know Dave, and Dave just doesn't have bad days. He just doesn't. But I'd call him and I'd be like, Dave, this just happened. I mean, I didn't even, and he's like, all right, good. That sounds about right. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's that is universal. It's the people that cannot take it personally, get through it, that are going to come out the other side. And it's just reaching out to your upline when that happens so we can help you kind of put that in perspective. So I love that you're talking about this because it is universal to everybody that's done well here, period.
And to your credit, Bridget, this sounds strange that I'm talking about going into the home, but my Lord, I remember when I first started, we were still trying to figure out, you're like, hey, if you got an in-home, go do it. And I came out of my very first in-home and she goes, call me. I just want to make sure you're safe. Call me. I call her when I'm done. And I said, Bridget, I need to take a shower. She goes, sounds about right. Not checking that non-smoking box, are you? I swear I
Exactly.
needed a shower. It was
Yeah.
horrible.
Oh, we could write a hilarious book, guys, for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about. Our business model was we drove to people's houses and whoa, my heavens, we used to do that at year's end. Brian and Ryan Miller's group, we would like recap some of the top, funniest stories. And oh my heavens, we could write a book. So I only bring that up because what we do is not easy. It's simple, it's totally doable, but it's easier than ever, guys. The ability to do this remotely, have it at just at your fingertips, all the technology that Symmetry has invested in, not to replace us as agents, but to help us do more as agents. I mean, and put that in perspective, right? What you think is hard here and struggling. I mean, it's not great when you drive an hour and a half and get porched, right? The people aren't home. And then it starts to snow. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm doing this because that. Like I said before, why are you doing this? Why are you here? Because that lets everything else fade to the background. But yeah, Paige, same thing. Paige had a real brief in-home visit because she came in just when we were wrapping through COVID. And I'm like, well, make sure and text me when you're back in, back home, because that's just the way it was then. But now, my gosh, easier than ever. I love that we're talking about this. Just put it in perspective. You just move. When you're laying in bed and your mind is starting to spiral, well, am I the only one that happens? Oh, yeah. Get out of bed, move. Don't just lay there and let your thoughts take over. Put in a podcast, get another voice in your head other than your own.
Yeah, I think that what we don't talk about enough, just as humans, but especially in this position, is you are going to want to quit. You're going to want to quit. That's going to happen multiple times at varying stages here. And what I think few people mistake that for is a red flag or a sign that this isn't for me. I'm not meant to do this, that I was never going to work here. And the reality is that's just your comfort zone trying to pull you back in. So that's when it takes a lot of mental strength to remember why you're here in the first place, just like what Bridget and Tom have been talking about, remembering why you're here and what you don't want to go back to. Because when you're in the thick of it and you've gotten zorched, right? You're on Zoom, no one shows up, or you get a no-show, and you just think like, I cannot be beat down anymore. Like you can feel it in your body, you can feel it in your mind. You're just like on the verge of tears, and you think, I cannot take this anymore. This is way harder than I thought it was going to be. Remember in that moment that you're no different, first of all, than anybody else here. This isn't especially hard for you. We all go through that. But what happens next is what's important, right? Okay, this sucks. I'm really struggling right now. This is way harder than I thought it was going to be. But I'm going to give it one more go. I'm going to get on the phones one more time. Because you guys, at that moment, when we think it's a negative thing, when we think it's like the last straw and we can't move forward, that's actually, you're at the bottom of that learning curve and you're about to break through. And I can tell you that because every single time I've been there and I've gotten up, even with the tears streaming down, and I'm just like, I can't do this. This is so hard, but I'm going to take one more step. That's when the breakthrough has happened. So if you feel yourself there, don't run away to your comfort zone like you want to. Okay. That's not wisdom. That's just a little bit of fear trying to take over. The wisdom is continuing to move forward because you know this can work for you. It's working for thousands of people. There's no reason why it won't work for you. It just takes pushing through that mental game.
That's so good, Paige. And I know why I felt like the leaderboards went so fast is because we forgot to talk about activity. We forgot to talk about wins. Um, I know, but this is a great summary after this to talk about some activities and wins. And I'll lead with the guy who's on this call, John Mayura, who's starting to get that little breakthrough in appointments and meeting and running and doing this and the activity and chipping through it and the confidence is building. I see it. So kudos on the activity, John. Your rewards will be coming. You just keep plugging, they will.
Thank you, Tom. Yep. Everything that you guys are saying is sort of in my past. It's interesting. It's fun. It's fun to have broken through, as Bridget said.
Yeah. Who else has some wins to share as well? Some activity wins or just some regular wins? Paige, you got one?
Can I piggyback real quick off that, Tom? It's
Yeah, please.
something that everyone needs to realize because I didn't realize this at first. When I say you're going to want to quit and you're going to be at the verge of that, yes, you will be multiple times. But here's the thing, you don't have to repeat the same learning curve over again. So when you finally break through and you finally start booking appointments, you're not going to unlearn that. You're not going to forget that. Then when you finally start getting appointments to show the heck up, you're not going to unlearn that. When you finally get people to get all the way through to the end of the appointment and write the stupid application, you're never going to unlearn that. And then when you can finally consistently write 8 out of 15 people, you're never going to unlearn that. So just know that, right? You're not going to keep going forward and backwards here. It's just a new learning curve that you're going to be attacking. It's a new level of you in this business, in life that you're going to have to tackle. But know that if you can stick it out until you figure it out, you can stick it out until you are consistently writing business every single month and it becomes more like muscle memory, that's not going to ever go away. It's never going to go away. So just know that, like, the faster you get through that, the faster you make a thousand dials and fall on your face 500 times, the faster you sit with 50 people, the faster you're going to be through that part and on to the good stuff. Because struggling here is one thing, but struggling when you're making really good money feels a lot different. And you can get through that as quickly as you want to. So sorry, I hijacked your wins, Tom, but I had to share that because I want everyone
No,
to
it's
know
perfect.
once you're through it, you're through it, okay? No
It's
backtrack.
perfect. And you just summarized my Let's quote of you build self-confidence by doing the reps.
Mhm.
Each time you show up, each level that Paige just described, each time you knock the next level off or you move up, or however you want to look at that, your muscle of belief begins to grow.
Yep.
100%. So that was perfect. You didn't
Yeah.
hijack the thing.
Well, I will hijack some wins now because I want to give some shout outs. I want to shout out Lance Morales, who's on here. He has been powering through and actually talk about not quitting. He started here. He went full force through the course and then had to take a pause because life happened. He came back. He came through. He passed that test in like record time. Now he's been just powering through all the training. He's been awesome. He's checking in all the time. He's doing all the right things at this stage to tell me that he's serious about this and this is it for him. So I just want to give him a big shout out. He's on here. I'm really excited for what he's going to have in front of him. Margarita, same thing. She's been awesome with checking in. She's been awesome doing the things. She's in that stage right now where she's figuring out dialing. She's doing the social media kickstart. So she's working on just getting some consistency there. I know that stage. We all know it well. It's just about pushing through, not hanging out there too long, getting that activity in. So big shout out to those two. I see Rachel on here. She just got her very first writer. She's been building up this thing. She's had some health stuff going on, but she's still been super consistent with just showing up and also being a really good mentor too. We're in some group chats that are hilarious. But it just shout out to her. She's showed up like a leader and she's been consistently being a leader even when life's been happening, right? And that's really what it's about, is showing up even when you don't feel like it. Shout out to Emily Little because we did our first DFL call last week and we've got a follow up this week. So actually today. So shout out to her on that. She's been doing awesome. And it was her former boss, I think, right, Emily? Like we're working on helping out a former boss. So you never know who could use the help that we have to provide. So just shout outs all around. If you're on here, you get a shout out. Happy Monday.
A shout out to you. A shout out to you.
To
Shout
Tom
out
for
to
hosting this call. Great job, Tom. Shout out to Bridget for her insight. Shout out to everybody. Everyone deserves
shout out
help.
to the monkeys that showed up.
Shout
Come
out to the monkeys. Mine left. Oh no, he's right here. He's
Good
still-
Lord. I know, one cool thing that's just proof that if your schedule's right and you can do this business, we had this weekend, let's see, 40, Paige, you've been to my house. You know how big that backyard is. 45 bags of leaves that we bagged up. I know. Oh, stupid. They all came at once, Bridget. Usually it's like separate. That was Saturday. Then went to a soccer game. Before that, I helped a family. I mean, had ran 3 appointments during the day as my break. Didn't really take a shower till like 3. I had to get on the phone with the client to sign. And I'm like, oh my God, hold on. Let me put a hat on. I kind of forgot. And it was horrible, but not my best presentation, from a fit standpoint. But man, and then, yesterday it started to snow. So it's like, it's crazy. We've got, Paige, we've got 2 inches, 3 inches of snow already. It is, and on top of it, just to prove that things in this business are like the seasons changing, where things can go kind of wonky and get back to normal. It's going to be 65 this weekend. I mean, it's crazy. So, hi, little Myra. That's Sophie. Look at Sophie. I want to introduce Sophie, everybody. Hi, Sophie. Your dad's amazing.
She turned 5 last week. Sorry to interrupt,
Yep.
but if we were hijacking things,
Happy birthday.
We're hijacking
Happy
today.
birthday.
it's hijacking Monday.
Yeah, it is. Oh my goodness. Happy 5th birthday.
All right.
Thank you.
Any-
Thank you.
Anybody else got some wins out there? Are we good, Bridge? You got any?
Oh, everything that you guys said. I mean, it is just being on this call, right? Shout out and give yourself a little check mark on that. And you talk about momentum. And Rafa has his schedule down, so he was able to enjoy, visit. I mean, he sent me, I was so jealous, some amazing pictures of delicious looking food. And I think he wrote 3 or 4 apps while he was there, but that's the schedule. Brandon, same thing. Brandon has had to move his like shrink his weeks in, like due to some sports schedules. But I'm amazed he's written more business than he ever has. And it's strange because I remember Brian Delaney saying this. Any task is going to take the amount of time that you allot to it. And here's the perfect analogy. Do you guys ever have a list that you're tripping on, that things that you have to get done before you leave on vacation?
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, that gets done. Why? Because you have a certain amount of time, it's getting done. So why do we drag things out in our other, but once you get your schedule and say, this is what I'm doing right now, you're just doing it, you're not overthinking it, it gets done. And just the efficiency of that I wanted to talk about. But obviously, everybody that's on this call, Mackenzie's brand new in pre-licensing. Kim is getting through the pre-licensing, and she's looking at DFL for her kids. Um, obviously Emily, we've got the just doing the action. But everybody on this call, Janie keeps just showing up, swinging. She's going to hit, and she is hitting. But sometimes we struggle a little bit, but she's on every single call. So just shout out to everybody that's on Rob doing the things, right? Now you got to start making the dials so you can get through that learning curve quick. But I don't want to leave Ibble hanging. Go.
No. Before Ibble, just one quick thing, Bridget. I would love to share our chats like 5 days before conference or any kind of thing, because I feel like it's our therapy of what we gotta do and get done. And
And it gets
oh my
done.
Lord,
Just gets
you
done.
I know you gave me a little PTSD right there. So there you go. Go ahead, Ibble. Follow
Deal with
PTSD.
it. Okay.
Oh, well, good morning, everybody. My win is not based on activity, though that's always a good idea. You never regret dialing, right, Paige? But my win is really about taking advantage of opportunities that come your way, whether that's to learn or train or associate. For those of you that are around in the February for our last Ignite, we had a speaker named Bo Eason there, and he does a training a couple times a year. I thought he was just doing two different dates for, symmetry people. Turns out he does two a year, period. That's it. And there was only 100 people there, and it's all about learning how to communicate better, tell your story, whether you're up on a stage like he does, or just talking one-on-one with clients or with a group of clients. And it was an amazing experience to do that. And there was several people from Symmetry there. Several people, I learned a lot of things about them that I want to know more, right? And that's, we were leaving people hanging up on stage telling like one sentence. But it's a really awesome opportunity. I'm really glad that I was able to go, made the choice to go. So I didn't have a lot of activity last week because I was very intentional with my time there. But if you ever have the opportunity to do something and it's not a symmetry event or something like that, and you're like, I don't know, should I really go? Am I the right person to do that? Go. You're never going to regret it. Whatever the thing is. So that's my win. So now I just got to get back into the activity we've been talking about all day.
That's so good, Ibble, and thank you for bringing that up. It's a unique opportunity, and it's very, very from everything I've heard, it's amazing. So can't wait to unpack that a little bit with you, because you got me curious on that. So
I'm sure. Call me later.
awesome. Everybody, anybody else? Paige, Bridget, we good? Clear? Thumbs up. We're ready to roll. Let's go put some activity together. Let's go get out of our own way from a confidence standpoint. Let's start building that. Like I said at the end, head down, heart open, just keep moving. Okay? Let's go. See ya.